Hi guys, Cinematic Recapped here. Before we start, warning. Spoilers ahead. Today, I'm gonna explain an American science fiction and thriller movie, called Firestarter. The film opens with a scene of a couple, Andy and Vicky McGee, admiring their baby daughter, Charlie, in a flashback. After they put her to her crib, they head to their own room. Just then, Andy hears a noise and rushes back to Charlie's room. To his horror, he finds that the mobile above Charlie's crib and other items in the room are on fire. He quickly grabs Charlie, but she catches fire as well. In the present day, Andy wakes up from his slumber and goes to the kitchen, where he finds Charlie sitting alone and playing with a lighter. When he asks her why she's awake, she tells him about a nightmare she had. She also shares her concerns about her pyrokinetic abilities, which she refers to as the bad thing. Andy tries to comfort her, and Vicky soon joins them to make breakfast. The scene transitions to the opening credits, which show Andy and Vicky as a young couple participating in clinical trials run by Dr. Joseph Wanless. The couple is administered an experimental drug called Lot 6, and their progress is closely monitored and recorded. Other participants are also shown taking the same medication, with more severe and violent outcomes. Fast forward to the present day, Andy now works as a psychologist. Due to the effects of Lot 6, he has acquired the ability to manipulate people's thoughts using a technique he calls the push. In one session, he uses his power to persuade a woman to quit smoking, initially met with skepticism. After that, the woman reports feeling better and healthier, paying him before leaving the room. However, the exertion of his power causes Andy's eyes to bleed. At school, Charlie becomes a target of bullying by her classmates, particularly a snobbish kid named Gavin. Thankfully, her teacher, Ms. Gardner, is kind and empathetic towards her. She suggests that Charlie use Google to improve her grades, but Charlie is clueless about what it is, prompting her classmates to laugh at her. Later, when Vicky returns home, she finds Charlie in tears after being ridiculed by her classmates. Vicky comforts her daughter, assuring her that she is special. Unfortunately, Vicky informs her that their financial situation makes it impossible to afford it. Afterwards, Vicky discusses Charlie's special abilities with Andy, urging him to consider training her. However, Andy is hesitant as he wants Charlie to live a normal life, fearing the dangers of her powers. The next day during gym class, Charlie gets hit by Gavin while playing dodgeball. Because of that, she starts to breathe heavily, knowing that she could lose control of her powers. She then rushes to the bathroom to calm herself down. Knowing this, Ms. Gardner follows her and finds Charlie hiding in the bathroom stall, with the tap running and the water steaming. Ms. Gardner tries to talk to her, but to her surprise, Charlie's superpower causes the door to blow off its hinges. After the incident, the police are investigating further about it, while Andy and Vicky are called by the school principal. The couple reassures the school principal that such an incident will not happen again. Back at home, Andy and Vicky continue to argue about what to do with Charlie. Vicky insists that Charlie needs to be trained to control her power. However, Andy is reluctant to do so because he does not want Charlie to experience the pain he feels every time he uses his own powers. Suddenly, Charlie emerges from her room and asks what is happening. Andy reluctantly explains that a mysterious organization is after them because of their unique abilities, and they have to leave as soon as possible to avoid being caught. Hearing this, Charlie is devastated by the revelations and breaks down in tears, calling herself a monster. As a result, she loses control of her power and accidentally sets her mother's arms on fire. Horrified, Charlie tries to contact the emergency service, but Andy quickly stops her, knowing that it would attract unwanted attention. Meanwhile, in a secret facility, Captain Jane Hollister, the leader of the Department of Scientific Intelligence or DSI, is monitoring thermal signatures caused by Charlie's outbursts. She contacts a fellow superhuman, John Rainbird, to find Charlie and bring her back to the facility alive. Later, Andy is tending to Vicky's severe arm injuries. She suggests that he should have used the push on Charlie to stop her, but Andy tells her that he was scared he would mess her up. Vicky then asks him to take Charlie out for ice cream and try to calm her down. While she is home alone, she begins to feel a strange presence in the house. Suddenly, she hears a knock on the door and finds a female police officer outside. The officer explains that she is there to follow up on the emergency call from earlier, but Vicky dismisses it as a minor accident and claims that her daughter overreacted. After locking the door, Vicky discovers Rainbird inside the house. He demands to know where Charlie is, but Vicky attempts to fight back with her repressed telekinetic powers. Despite her refusal to reveal Charlie's whereabouts, the two engage in a brief scuffle. At the same time, Andy and Charlie return home, and Charlie feels guilty about hurting her mother. However, Andy assures her that her mom will forgive her. He then goes to his room to check on Vicky, but notices that the doorway is slightly disorganized. Returning to the living room, he finds Rainbird holding Charlie at knife point. Desperately, Andy tries to use the push until his eyes bled, but he fails to save Charlie. Fortunately, Charlie manages to overpower Rainbird by unleashing a concussive burst of flames throughout the house. Following this, they eventually find Vicky, who was killed in the earlier fight. With their house ablaze, Andy and Charlie escape into their truck before Rainbird can recover. The next day, Andy takes a break in the car, and Charlie practices to control her powers. As she sees a cat, she tries to befriend it, but the cat scratches her, causing Charlie to accidentally burn it to death. Andy rushes to her and comforts her. Elsewhere, Hollister visits Dr. Joseph at a retirement home, seeking his help to find Charlie. She wants to study her and help her control her powers, but Dr. Joseph implores her to terminate Charlie before her powers become uncontrollable. Back to Andy and Charlie, they hold a burial for the cat, using it to remember Vicky. To avoid being caught, they sit by the roadside waiting for a cab, as they cannot drive on their own. Soon, they finally meet a man named Irv Manders. After using the push to convince Irv to take them to Boston, they hitch a ride with him, stopping off at his house. While Andy and Irv are talking inside the house, Charlie walks around and accidentally finds Irv's wife, Essie, who is bedridden after a car accident. After Charlie meets his paralyzed wife, Irv initially flies into a rage, but after calming down, he admits that he sometimes overreacts. That night, Andy explains to Charlie that he protected her as a baby from evil men and used the push to kill them. The following morning, Andy discovers that Irv has stayed up all night watching a news report of the incident at the McGee home, which is being framed as murder by Andy. Irv and Andy argue, before Andy explains to Irv that he is just trying to protect his daughter. Not long after that, Charlie comes in and tells Irv that she has spoken telepathically with Essie, who had already forgiven him for the accident that left her paralyzed. Because of this, Irv changes his mind and decides to protect Andy and Charlie when the police appear due to his prior emergency call. As Irv talks to the police, Rainbird emerges in the bushes and quickly kills the policeman before shooting Irv in the knee. Knowing this, Andy tells Charlie to escape, while he tries to distract Rainbird. He uses the push to trick Rainbird, allowing Charlie to escape safely into the forest. Just then, Hollister's agents finally arrive to apprehend Andy and Rainbird. Hollister interrogates Andy, who repeatedly refuses to reveal Charlie's whereabouts. Meanwhile, Charlie focuses on refining her fire powers. At one point, she hears Andy's voice communicating with her telepathically, informing that he is being held at the DSI facility. Hence, Charlie quickly manipulates 3 bullies into giving her a bike and some clothes before following her father's telepathic message. Upon reaching the facility, she follows a DSI agent into his car and demands his key card. When the agent draws a gun to attack her, Charlie burns him to death. She then descends a large staircase to the restricted area where her father is being held. She finally reaches Andy's glass-fronted cell, only to find out that the telepathic message was actually from Rainbird, not his father. At the same time, Hollister approaches Andy and warns Charlie not to use her powers, as she might unintentionally burn her father. Seeing no other way out and knowing that he will die soon, Andy apologizes to Charlie and then pushes her to burn the entire place down, starting with Hollister and himself. Charlie, now a rogue, sets the facility on fire, unlocks all the security doors with her mind, and walks through the corridors killing anyone in her path. However, she is eventually surrounded by men in hazmat suits, who are immune to her powers. Luckily, Rainbird, who has just been released, shoots them from behind. He then surrenders to Charlie and kneels before her, asking for her judgment. Charlie starts to kill him, but stops when she looks at herself in the mirror and realizes that she should not be a murderer. Thus, he spares Rainbird's life before ultimately burning the rest of the facility down. The movie ends with Charlie sitting on a beach and allowing Rainbird to carry her away into the night. Subscribe to watch more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.